That's all you have.
Nitric mode.
Already done. Hot dog. Prawn.
That we're about to get from Troy Nels. Because it's likely
Play it
this
on the
Obinus
regular game,
guy
not plutonium.
is just a loser, and he's bloviating there to try to impress somebody he meets on a grinder date. And who knows what real intel he has or access he has or anything. To me, it looks like it's likely this guy is just bragging and really has nothing to do with any of it. Now, having said that, he might be repeating things he hears around the office. He might represent the same mindset of the people that have the powers and the people that are in the field and running these operations. That's the big question. But I mean, this guy's just a clown. Oh, I can't tell you who I work with. You work for the CIA? Yeah, I work for the CIA. Oh, I can't tell you how much money the contracts I sign are worth. You sign $300 million contracts? Yeah, I signed $300 million contracts. Yeah, that's me. As he sits there and eats hamburger lettuce. So, I mean, it's likely this guy is just a bloviating homo trying to impress a grinder date. And he likely has nothing to do with any operations at all. But that doesn't take away from the legitimacy here that these things are likely still going on, and he's probably just overhearing them or seeing them, or he's a desk jockey and he deals with the transcripts or he deals with the audio recordings when people are talking about this stuff, whether it's destroying Alex Jones or running Ukraine. Now, here's the response from Troy Nels, and why I haven't heard this from other members of Congress, specifically the Republican Party, is part of the problem. But here's Troy Nels with Benny Johnson addressing these videos.
What a broken system. You say that only Donald Trump, nothing's going to change until Donald Trump gets back into office. And you put your money where your mouth is, or at least your fashion where your mouth is during the State of the Union. We'll never forget your Never Surrender shirt. I think that's the official Trump shirt from the Trump store with Donald Trump's mugshot on it, and your exquisite bow tie along with the Laken Riley pin. And so some of your colleagues there, obviously just wearing the suit and tie, but you sir went big.
Yeah, I like the bow tie. Probably need to cut back on the brownies and the cookies. You can see that a little bit, but overall, I thought I looked damper that evening, and it just was there to send the message, and that is, I and the people, the patriots across this great country, that is part of that mega movement, that Make America Great Again movement. I just want to let the American people know that there are people in Congress that supports Donald J. Trump to the end, and I will fight like hell, do everything I possibly can that he can come back, get reelected, and save this country. He's got to save our country. He's the only one that can do it. We had a pretty decent group on the stage, but nobody compares to Donald J. Trump. So once we get Trump in there, all of our country's ills will end. They'll all end. He'll fix it all. He will end the war in Ukraine. I predict Donald Trump wins. Putin's out of Ukraine by April 1st. He's gone.
That's our dream. That's our dream. As a father, as somebody who's going to eventually have draft age children, I don't want war. I don't want it. As a taxpayer, I don't want war.
God bless you. God bless your listeners. You're doing a hell of a job, Benny. Keep it up, buddy. This is what we need. We are being silenced. We are being silenced by the dishonest media, the greatest threat to our country.
It funds the broadcast and it's game-changing. Take action now.
All right, I want to play the rest of the sound investigations video, part 2, into Gavin Oblinus, and we will just conclude that video and then get into some other news. So we also have another one from James O'Keefe talking about how the Fed was trying to sabotage Donald Trump. Oh, what do you know? Are there going to be subpoenas? Should be. All right, so here's the rest of that sound investigations, part 2.
HR 7109.
Oh,
We having a what?
What are we doing? Whatever we need to.
All right, I think we're having some tech problems with the video.
Israel just fired a missile at Iran, dog.
Has the seal on it. See, I will tell her
Yep.
with my own eyes that I saw it. And hiring official is Scott Hobson.
I like the Bureau, too. The Bureau was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff with the Bureau. I was the guy in the back of the truck in the van.
Doubtful.
Speaking to a Sound Investigations undercover reporter, Oblinus seems to have confirmed an anonymously sourced New York Times article about the CIA's involvement in the Ukraine conflict.
Are agents everywhere in the world? Every embassy? Even Ukraine?
Yep.
But that's not. I didn't know that.
Why wouldn't we be?
Oh, right. What are we doing?
Whatever we need to.
Right.
We're under State Department cover.
Good.
So if I go overseas, my name will change. I'll have a full background. And I'll go by that name while I'm overseas.
Wow. So Ukraine doesn't even know that CIA is there?
Oh, they know.
Oh, do they?
I mean, it's a well-known secret, right?
Right.
Because we're the Central Intelligence Agency. We're not allowed to operate inside the U.S. So what do?
Or outside the U.S. So you guys must know a whole lot more about the Ukraine conflict than the news is actually saying.
Okay. I mean, that's just what we do. I'm not good at it.
Right.
I don't, but I just transfer the money and spend the money for them.
When it comes to Ukraine, the agency can really get involved in the military, right?
We give them intelligence and advice all the time.
What about combat?
We don't really do that. We're not allowed. I mean, send advisors.
Advisors? Oh, so kind of like in the form of a general?
Right. This is what the U.S. would do. Okay. That was in San Diego.
Month to purchase the same goods, and it is braggadocious. How much of it is just hearsay? How much of it is real? I think we deserve to know. I think congressional subpoenas need to fly. I think Gavin needs to be testifying under oath. Congressman Troy Nels agrees. Will other Republicans in the House say similar things as Troy? All right, the Biden economy is going to be a problem at the polls. This is why Democrats are trying to focus so hard on the abortion issue. And there's a big debate now, even amongst the right wing. Do you lean in on the pro-life issue ahead of the election? Do you take a step back and say this could cost us politically? I see the arguments on both sides, but we'll get into that. The economy, however, Joe Biden is losing on badly. Badly. And no matter where you look, it's not good. And there's no amount of lying that the Democrats and the media can engage in to try to cover this up. It's all over. Biden pays the price for causing runaway inflation as Americans are buried in bills. And you have car repos and credit card debt at record highs. How inflation is hurting Biden's progress on the economy. The typical American household would need to spend $445 more a month to purchase the same goods.
Apparently, it wasn't just Iran. It was Iran, Iraq, and
So
Syria.
this is stuff they can come out and say, "Oh, economy great, economy
Are,
great,
are they fucking crazy?
best economy ever, Jack." But the average American sees their grocery bill. It's kind of like the other day when
Literally every
Jay
single
Powell,
neighbor.
during an interview, says we think we're really strong economically and financially. The American people are doing really well. This rat woman who puts a bowl on her head and cuts around it says, and I guess people say, she's right. Oh, the credit card debt. Janet, she's right. Janet Yellen is right. I am doing great. Sure, I live paycheck to paycheck and have more debt than I've ever had. So here's a CBS Money Watch report. CBS Mainstream News, Nora O'Donnell. Here's them breaking down some of the numbers.
For the third straight month, prices have gone up more than expected, from the rising cost of car insurance and repairs to how much you're paying at the grocery store every week.
Do you know how much one of these costs? $2 freaking dollars. This was $200. We supposed to skip the power bill this month so we can buy. Buy groceries or the mortgage.
Before the pandemic, all of these groceries, about 30 items,
They
cost
blame the
$100
pandemic.
on average. Now, 5 years later, according to Nielsen IQ, all this costs 33% more, meaning you'd have to skip about 10 items like chicken, bread, milk, and bananas to make your $100 budget.
Now, look, to blame this on COVID is obviously not accurate, disingenuous, dishonest. Now, if you're gonna try to tie it to COVID, then you tie it to the lockdowns. You tie it to the policy that caused this. But really, that's not even it. It's the Biden economy. It's the Biden policies. It's the energy prices going up. It's the taxes going up. That's the policy that caused this. And there might be some residuals from the lockdown policies, but that's not what's causing this. It's the energy policy. It's the tax policy. That's what's going on. But again, Janet Yellen or Joe Biden or Karine Jean-Pierre to say the economy's great, greatest economy.
Yeah. Yeah, what? When she said that today or whatever.
Economy ever, Jack. And so the American people are just supposed to look at their grocery bill that's gone up and their energy bill that's gone up And they're just supposed to say, oh, yeah, this isn't real. This doesn't exist. Joe Biden told me that my energy bill is cheaper even though it's up. Janet Yellen told me my grocery bill is cheaper even though it's up. Karine Jean-Pierre said I'm doing better economically than I've ever done, even though I'm living paycheck to paycheck and not sure I'm going to pay my bills next month. They said I'm doing great, so I trust them. Do people really live in that world? No, I don't think so. And here's proof. On MSNBC, undecided voters, here's what they had to say about Joe Biden.
I want to show two more. The undecided voters were also asked how they think President Biden is doing on the economy. Take a listen.
I think he's been absolutely disastrous for the economy.
I agree.
Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family personally. Raise your hand. All right, so that is everybody. President Biden argues that his economic record has been very good. Said President Trump's was not as good. What are you keying off of, Sean? Since you had the best smile and Virginia the second best smile, what are you keying off of to say President Trump's economic policies would be better for you?
My past performance of my 401k. I know it was post 2020 and everything kind of flipped around, but you can't blame everything on 2020 for forever.
We have areas here in Pennsylvania where it's just at a standstill right now. Like things are supposed to be being built and the interest rates are just way too high for people to invest and start moving around.
And Virginia, just staying with you because Pennsylvania is near and dear to Joe Biden's heart. Are there Biden policies that you would blame for the problem? And if so, what are they?
The interest rate is so high right now, and I know they're trying to cut the inflation down, but like if nobody is building, no businesses are really coming to Pennsylvania right now to keep us moving forward.
Even if you're trying to buy a house, because I'm trying to become a first-time home buyer, the prices are so high right now. It's just hard.
Is there anything Joe Biden could do or say between now and the time you vote that would make you feel differently about feeling that his policies would not be as good for your family on the economy? Or have you pretty much decided that Trump's policies would be better for the economy?
I mean, I feel like he doesn't even take accountability for what's at all with what's going on in the economy. Not even accountability. Like he's in denial that it's happening.
The point is Biden needs to hear the people, because when he's talking about the economy doing stellar, he's talking about the stock market. He's not looking at homelessness or joblessness. He's not, at Evie's point, thinking about how much it costs to go to the grocery store. And he's gaslighting literally everyone in the process.
And Omar, you voted for Joe Biden last time, right?
Yeah.
Some really important and hard insights for the Biden campaign to hear there. And hearing all that, you might think things are pretty bad for President Biden. That was not good.
Yeah, no kidding, inflatable news host woman. So, again, no matter how many times Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Karine Jean-Pierre or Janet Yellen get in front of a camera and tell you the economy's great and tell you you're doing better than ever, it's not working. The average American can still look at their grocery bill, energy bill, price at the pump, whatever, and know that that's just an outrageous lie. And I think more so than just, people are used to politicians lying. I think it's it's just so offensive. It's just an insult. Like, you don't even know what you're experiencing. You don't even know what you're going through. You're too stupid. Karine Jean-Pierre up there looking like a Cabbage Patch doll. She is the intellectual authority on your life. She knows better than you what you're going through. Joe Biden, who shuffles around like a Generation 1 robotics android. I mean, this guy's just an embarrassment. We got more from Biden today. Do you want to see him? Do you want to see stiff-armed Joe Biden shuffling around the White House and then getting to the podium and reading off a script? And this guy's so out of touch. He just says it now. He's like, oh, where's my script? He literally says, where's my script? As he shuffles around the White House lawn, and he has to have a Marine up there pointing which way to go because he doesn't even know where he is. He wakes up at 11 with CPAP marks on his face. Or maybe it's a ball gag. I don't know. But looking forward, look, the RNC with Laura Logan and Michael Watley have already changed course to such a degree that I'm not trying to sell you false hope here, but let's just be honest about the situation. They're already getting record fundraising, and they're already getting bodies to polling locations, and they already know the hot spots where to go to, and they're already saying and doing the right things, and they're already doing voter registration drives. So it's like if Ronna McDaniel was, 0 for 300 in a baseball season, we got a fresh season, and right now the team's, the RNC's batting like 300, 400. Pretty good. Doing pretty well, leading the league. But you have to understand, the Democrats have a major problem, folks. They don't have the votes. They don't have the support, not for Joe Biden. So you got to ask yourself, well, what are they going to do? They're not just going to walk into this election and take a loss. So what are they going to do? What are the Democrats? What are these
How much did he win by
sucking
before?
criminals? What is the biggest terrorist organization in the history of this country, the Democrat Party, going to do before the 2024 elections or on election night? What are they going to do?
Like, what did the other person get?
Folks. Please don't be that naive. And I know you're not. So what are they going to do? Now, we've got more on Shuffling, Bumbling Joe. He's a total embarrassment. But, here's James O'Keefe with O'Keefe Media Group again with Ariel Hismo, Principal Economist, Real Estate Finance Section, Research and Statistics, Federal Reserve Board. Let's play some of this. So you had the Fed actively trying to tank and sabotage Donald Trump. Now they're actively trying to prop Joe Biden up. So this is the latest from O'Keefe Media Group in clip 1.
On principal economists. Right now I'm preparing for something. I'm going to do a talk to the Fed board.
Meet Harel Hismo. He's a principal economist working inside the Federal Reserve.
So you write speeches for Powell?
Yeah, like for certain paragraphs. I'm just really worried that I'm saying stuff like stuff that's classified.
Do you deal with classified stuff?
It's all classified. Right?
Quote, it's all classified.
It's all classified. Trump is a crazy person. It's very clear. I mean, he's a dumb guy.
Does he hate Trump? Like, is the feeling neutral?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. And Trump was president. He wanted to stimulate the economy.
Right.
But he wouldn't do it. And he started raising interest rates.
Then Powell would
doing the opposite that Trump wanted.
Powell was sabotaging
so the feeling is this, that we don't want Trump to be in government.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't think he'll win, but
go down in history as someone who, quote,
who knows?
held the line against Donald Trump, unquote.
He's doing it for the legacy. He wants to be remembered in history as somebody who held the line against like Trump and like somebody who helped the economy.
So he wants to preserve his legacy as someone, even though he's Republican on paper, Democrats don't love him.
Yeah, because he's responsive. Like under Powell, the Fed has changed to think about equity issues like racial issues, think about wealth inequality as part of the mandate, as part of the things we're following. Yep. Think about climate change.
Ariel Hismo says, quote, people think conservative.
And so it's Mitch McConnell calling Johnson and running the show.
It's flooded.
Is it blackmail? Is it just political influence? I don't think Mike Johnson is going to get another shot to be the speaker, though. I'll tell you that. So he can run his course the rest of the way here. But that's probably it. Why isn't Mike Johnson getting on the phone to members of Congress to get subpoenas into any of these individuals James O'Keefe has captured on camera talking about corruption in D.C.? Troy Nels agrees. Gavin Oblenis needs to be subpoenaed and testify under oath in front of Congress. Where's Mike Johnson? Where's Mike Johnson? All right, here's Joe Biden. We showed the video yesterday of him shuffling around. He has to have a Marine literally point him where to go and show him where he is and tell him who he is and, let him know that he had his butt wiped. It's totally embarrassing. And so here's one clip. Here's Joe Biden admitting that he has a script and a list of who he's supposed to call on in clip 6.
For the next question, who do I call on next? Hang on a second. I got my list here. Hang on. I apologize. Aurelia of AFP.
And there's another video, too. I don't know what's going on. There's a bunch of videos that didn't make the list today, but there's another video, too. It's a zoomed-in shot, and he's stumbling, and you can see in it, because he's so cool. He wears the aviators. By the way, it's totally it's totally classless. It's totally unprofessional. But he's just cool Joe Biden, or he probably has something wrong with his eyes, and so he has to wear the aviators. But yeah, so you hear in the clip, he says, oh, I forgot what I'm doing, what I'm saying. Let me go to my script. And then and you can see it in his aviators. He's literally reading off a script, folks. This is not an organic press conference. This is a scripted, controlled media event. And he has it's not just a list. He has a pre-scripted who he's going to call on, what the question is going to be, and his answer. A fully scripted, it's a Hollywood movie at this point. It's not a press conference. It's a scripted TV show. But, you know, maybe Kamala Harris can save face here for the administration. She was visiting an elementary school and addressing the issue of trans kids. Trans kids, it's a big Democrat issue. They love mangling little boys and girls and genital mutilation and, you know, whatever else they're into. And so here she is addressing that. Maybe she can save some face here for the embarrassment that is Joe Biden in clip 12.
All right, had it or hit it, book bans. Oh, God, had it. Had it, had it, had it. Again, the idea that you would restrict information and you know, the same people who are doing that are some of the same people who are denying our history. I mean, are trying to kind of just whitewash it. And I think it's absolutely, horrible.
So, by the way, whenever somebody is addressing you with inflection like that, that means they're lacking in confidence and they really have no idea what they're talking about, or they know they're just lying or wrong. So when she's speaking with that inflection, like Valley Girl thing, I mean, this is a girl introduced by Montel Williams as an arm piece. This is a woman who got down on her knees for Willie Brown to get involved in politics, and now here she is, the vice president, talking like this because she doesn't like the book bans? And it's the same people? Totally unserious. But see, this is the games that they play. These are the word games that they play. Book bans. Well, okay, wait a second. If I bring a Playboy magazine, if I bring a nudie magazine and I start showing that to kindergartners, and the teacher says, hey, you take that book out of here, get that book out of the classroom, is that a book ban? Is that a book ban? Well, yeah, I guess by Kamala Harris's logic, that's a book ban. Hey, that guy's showing pornography to kindergarten boys. Oh, you're not going to ban these books, are you? But of course, that's what they're doing. They're introducing books that teach kids how to use sex toys and have anal sex and give blowjobs and masturbate. And then they're introducing it at a younger and younger age, and people just show up, just sensible-minded people, common-sense people, and they say, hey, no, we're not going to do that in the classroom. They, oh, my God, a book ban. I mean, okay, would you have the same logic to a rapist? A man raping a woman, and Kamala Harris, oh, you're going to, hey, so a man is raping a woman in the streets, and a good citizen comes up, or a cop comes up and stops that rape from happening. And here comes Kamala Harris. Hey, are you going to stop that man's sexual freedom? Are you going to stop that man's sexual expression? He is allowed to freely exercise his sexual freedom and sexual expression. Ma'am, that's a rape. It's the same logic. No, rape is bad. No, showing kindergarten students porn is bad. Oh, no, that's book banning. Oh, no, that's sexual expression. This is what they're going with. Why do they love this trans issue so much? And they love this abortion issue. We're going to get to the abortion issue too. This is actually a big one.
There is nothing more frustrating to me, whether it comes to news or anything else we're doing, than to know I'm telling the truth and to know that they'll just listen to me and take action. It will change your life. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two great products that have been sold out for a long time. They're now back in stock at InfoWarsStore.com. X3 is the highest quality iodine, the missing link. It is back in stock, 40% off. And so is Turbo Force, 10-hour clean energy, naturally released. It is amazing. Both of these products fund the InfoWar. So they can be placebo and it'd still be great because you're funding the InfoWar. They're not. If you'll just try Turbo Force, you'll see the results in 30 minutes. Incredible energy for 10 hours without the letdown.
So no, the freedom to control your own body starts with consent. Rape is already a crime. So they just lie. It's just lie on propaganda. It's just a propaganda cake with the lies of icing on top. But this is a major political issue. And, you know, I see both sides of this. From a pure political, pragmatic standpoint, I would say probably good strategy to kind of back off of this ahead of the 2024 election if you're Republicans, or at least try to reshape the narrative. Because, I mean, the Democrats are telling you you're killing women, literally. So that's not really good. But obviously the purists on the pro-life side are going to say, no, we're not going to give an inch on this issue. So I understand both sides. I understand both sides of this. And it's a fair debate to be had, but here's some of the response. So you have to wonder if it's all coincidental. But look, the results are already in. Politically speaking, on the ballot when it went to the states, it's close, but it probably, you take a political hit really leaning on the pro-life issue for your 2024 election. Strategically, it's probably not going to render the best results. That's not to say we shouldn't be pro-life or protect the sanctity of life. Of course we should. I'm just saying, if you're talking from a raw political pragmatic standpoint, the results are already in, and the Democrats know it. And that's why they're leaning hard on this issue, and they're hoping to get the response from the Republicans that will hurt them in the 2024 election. But so they leaked the Roe versus Wade decision ahead of 2022. That hurt Republicans. When the ballot issues arose on many of the states, the pro-life issues lost in many states. Some they won, some they lost. It wasn't a mop-up. And now you have this decision in Arizona. It almost feels like it was done intentionally ahead of the 2024 election so that the Democrats can use this and lean on this. So they're just going ape at the Arizona Capitol, full-fledged meltdowns. So let's listen here. Listen to what they say here in clip 3.
Do not fall for it. Matt Dress is a liar. He does not care about the women who will die because of this horrific ban.
I absolutely
not. Do not listen to Matt Dress. That is a lie. Matt Dress is absolutely being untruthful. This is not true. Not true.
I believe that we should be repealing.
So they're in there saying you're killing women, you're killing black women. And look, folks, Democrat voters believe it. Democrat voters believe it. They really hear that crap and they go home and thinking, oh my God, Republicans want to kill black women. I know it's not true. You know it's not true. But Democrats believe it and they go vote like it's true. So you have to address this issue. I don't care where you stand on this. You have to address this issue. You cannot let the Democrats win and have people believing that Republicans want to kill black women. By the way, the most dangerous place for a black American is in the womb. So you see, you have to find ways to counter this narrative. You have to find ways of getting buzzwords and catchphrases and clips out to the public. That woman there screaming and shouting like a lunatic knows exactly what she's doing. She knows the cameras are rolling, and so she says you're trying to kill black women because she knows that's what's going to stick. Here's more of them going crazy at the Capitol in response to the new ruling of the abortion ban in Arizona in clip 4. All right. So this goes on. This goes on all day. So let's try to square this real quick. Why? Because you should be sitting here logically saying, well, this should be your response to the illegal immigration. This should be your response to the criminals being let back on the streets. This should be your response to what's going on in the economy. Those are real issues that affect every single American. That's what you should be chanting shame about. So why do they do it with abortion? Because it's all politics, folks. It's all politics. They know that this issue tugs at the heartstrings, and they know that the average Democrat voter, specifically female, is dumb enough to believe their propaganda. And they will really think, I need to go vote or a Republican wants to kill me. When they sit there and they say Republicans want to kill black women, a low IQ Democrat voter, same difference, low IQ voter, Democrat voter, it's the same thing. They will go to the polls, they will wake up on election day, and they will think, I have to go vote because Republicans want to kill me. Because Republicans want me dead. They actually believe that. I know it makes no sense to you. I know it's total low IQ, brainwashed thinking. That's a real thing that we have to address and deal with. Very real. So how do the Republicans get this under control? You can't give on the issue of abortion, but there has to be some strategy to not let this turn out in a single issue voter phenomenon that could cost the Republicans, because the Democrats are doing this because they know it plays and they have nothing else to run on. So I don't know if you back off the issue. I don't know if you try to reshape the narrative. I don't know how you try to counter this, but you can tell, and it's been going on. The Democrats are leaning in on this. They're going heavy on this. This is their big issue. And just, you're going to see the propaganda all day long. Republicans want to kill you. Republicans want you dead. Republicans want to deny you health care. I know all of it's lies. I know all of it's bull crap, but that's what they're going to do. But I guess at some point you just kind of sit back and you say, well, these are the people that love chopping up little boys and girls when they're alive, or they love chopping them up when they're in the womb. So what can you do for them anyway? If they're that committed to evil, then I guess you just say it is what it is. And these are demonic people that love destroying children's lives. So there you go. You know, maybe I'll take some calls on the abortion issue in the fourth hour. We will be hearing from Alex in the fourth hour as well, but I'm going to be here for the first half of the fourth hour, and then Alex is going to be here for the second half with Steve Bannon and Crowder. But maybe we'll do something on that issue to see where you stand, because I see it from both sides. I see it from both sides. And I'm unequivocally pro-life, but I also practice what I preach. You have to separate sometimes politics and culture, and you have to understand that political purism is a cancer to any political movement. So would you rather have the Democrats running the country and destroying it, or would you rather give an inch or two on the abortion issue, if not just momentarily, to get back into office? I guess that's the question. Let's hit some other odds and ends here before we're joined by Benny Johnson coming up here. Viva Free breaks it down. This is incredible. It's amazing to appreciate who the players in the Trump persecutions. One, Stormy Daniels, a adult actress. Two, convicted perjurer Michael Cohen. 3, convicted extortionist Michael Avenatti. 4, adulterer and perjurer Fani Willis. 5, adulterer and divorce fraudster Nathan Wade. 6, corrupt pervert judge, nipple judge Arthur Engeron. He likes to take pictures of himself naked at the gym. Looks pretty good for an old man, but that's what he's into. Corrupt judge with family ties to prosecution Juan Merchan. Yeah, family gets paid millions of dollars by the Democrats. 8, crazy old pervert who fantasizes about raped and named her cat Vagina Fireball, E. Jean Carroll. 9, prosecutor who has been credibly accused of international extortion schemes, Jack Smith. 10, corrupt Soros-funded prosecutor Alvin Bragg. And 11, corrupt prosecutor who campaigned off targeting Trump, Letitia James and Fani Willis. If you don't understand that the criminals are in charge, you are a moron and a Democrat, but those two words are now synonyms. And I keep seeing this Stormy Daniels thing gets brought up, but see, this is what I talk about. Until you've been in that courtroom or you've faced Democrats that have the power, you realize, folks, real quick, in a real harsh way, that truth doesn't matter, evidence doesn't matter, and justice never entered the equation with these people. So just remember, when you hear all this crap about Stormy Daniels and the hush money, Stormy Daniels signed a document in 2018 stating, official statement of Stormy Daniels, to whom it may concern, over the past few weeks, I have been asked countless times to comment on reports of an alleged sexual relationship I had with Donald Trump many, many, many years ago. The fact of the matter is that each party to this alleged affair denied its existence in 2006, 2011, 2016, 2017, and now again in 2018. I am not denying this affair because I was paid hush money, as it has been reported in overseas-owned tabloids. I'm denying this affair because it never happened. I will have no further comment on this matter. And then plugs her Instagram account. Signed, Stormy Daniels. Now, does that matter? No! Does E. Jean Carroll fantasizing about rape on air and then bragging about how she's going to spend the Trump money, does that matter? No! Does Letitia James running for office saying, elect me and I'll go get Donald Trump, does that matter? No! Does the fact that known liars and criminals are the ones going after Donald Trump matter? No! Does the fact that a judge in one of the Trump cases, his family is getting paid millions of dollars by the Democrats matter? No! Ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand, these people do not care. They are committed to evil. They have made the decision to be the bad guy. They have embraced their role. They hate you. Truth, evidence, justice. It doesn't just not stand in their way. It doesn't even exist in their equation. And you know, some liberals and Democrats are starting to get this, and they don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to be the bad guy. They don't want to be the reason why the country collapses. They're not evil people, like Tulsi Gabbard, who writes a book saying to save the country, leave the Democrat Party. Tulsi Gabbard gets it. Only two things exist, or only one of these two things exists by the year 2030. Only one of these two things exists by the year 2030. Either the United States of America or the Democrat Party. Which one? American citizen, which one? By the year 2030, only one of them will exist. The Democrat Party or the United States of America. These two things cannot coexist. Here's a former NPR guy, worked there for decades. I've been at NPR for 25 years. Here's how we lost America's trust. Yuri Berliner, a veteran at the Public Radio Institution, should be shut down, says the network lost its way when it started telling listeners how to think. Well, yeah, it's all liberals. It's all liberals. You cannot get a job at NPR unless you're a liberal. It's all anti-Trump. It's all leftist bent. And they have this phony like, oh, we're just reporting the news. We're just neutral. We just read the news and the facts. No, you don't. You're totally Democrat run. You're totally leftist liberal mindset. You're totally brainwashing propaganda now. Yeah, exactly. You're not getting information if you listen to NPR. You're getting misinformation and disinformation. But, you know, it's almost like we have to give up and abandon those terms because the Democrats love using misinformation, disinformation. Well, to a Democrat, to a liberal, what does misinformation, what does disinformation really means? Truth that they don't like. Facts that they don't want you to see. So it's like, do we try to push back and really address what misinformation and disinformation is? Or do we explain that, okay, when you see them using the terms misinformation and disinformation, you need to understand that's just facts, evidence that the Democrats don't like and don't want you to see. These are the decisions you got to make here. So much more is going on. This Biden administration is such a disaster. So you have Russia basically blaming America for what's going down in Ukraine and in Moscow. You have the Arab world basically blaming America for what's going down with Israel and the Gaza Strip. And it's just not good, folks. Iran has told the White House that if the U.S. defends Israel against its forthcoming retaliation for the Damascus strike, it will consider the U.S. a viable target as well. Well, we have a wide open southern border, so you might think that's a problem. And then what is Newsmax doing here, going pro-Ukraine? 10 reasons why Ukraine aid is good for America. Did somebody pay for that? Was it the same people that wrote this defense.gov story? Supporting Ukraine also serves U.S. interests. Oh, yeah, the interest of Washington, D.C., certainly. The interests of the military-industrial
I think
complex
there's
and
going to
all
be
its
another
shareholders in D.C., like
Holocaust
Dan
in
Crenshaw,
Israel, though.
I'm sure it does just fine there. No. Dan Crenshaw, he
Instead
made
of the
a bunch of
Germans,
money
it's going to
with
be
his
the Arab
$174,000 a year
states.
salary. He made his millions legitimately. He beat Wall Street legitimately. So don't worry about that. And he really means it. He really means it. I mean, at least Crenshaw has been in the military. So, I mean, maybe he will go fight in Ukraine, or maybe he will go fight for Israel. So I guess he's got that instead of like this pinko Lindsey Graham. All right, we're about to be joined by Benny Johnson here coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to support us at
What if
InfoWarsStore.com so we can
all
continue to have
the
these live
Arab
transmissions
states
every day, bring on the great guests every
began
day.
to invade
InfoWarsStore.com. You know, Biden
Israel
collapsing
and
things,
Russia,
just collapsing everything. The power grid, who
but
knows? So
protected
you might
them
want to have some frugal
against the
food.
U.S.,
Seriously, it's insurance you can eat. And obviously,
Russia, and China.
But Biden collapsing things is a very real threat, so have insurance.
My internet sucks. It fucking sucks. Rogers. I have no idea. Some oatmeal, dog? Want some oatmeal?
Drop us. Oh, look.
You can eat. We have the highest quality storable foods, ready to store, ready to ship at InfoWarsStore.com.
Survival Shield X3, now back and better than ever.
Yeah, without going after these corrupt institutions, specifically when we look at that video from Sound Investigations, trying to find out what the CIA or the FBI or other institutions were doing to, quite frankly, illegally go after Alex Jones, violating his civil rights, I would say, his right to free speech. But I guess maybe the lawyers will have to get involved. It's national news. We have Congressman Mike Jones going out and responding, encouraging Alex to do that. I just kind of look at this generally and then get your response. You know, for years, we've kind of had to approach these things very delicately, like walking on eggshells or something. And you think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. Well, now we're starting to see the majority of the iceberg here, folks. And I'll just tell you, you're still not seeing the whole thing. There's things I could come on and talk about right now, things that even happened in the last 24 hours that would just blow people's minds. But it's hard for people to understand just how bad it is. When these leftists decide they want to destroy you, they're like rabid hyenas. They don't have any process of thought. All it is seek, destroy, and eat. And that's all they do. There's no morals. There's no consciousness. It's just like a rabid hyena out there searching for raw meat in the desert. And once they've located the target, it's Alex Jones.
Sort of the trope that's being rolled out right now, right? It's democracy. Everything is democracy, right? If you don't follow the CIA on X, it's a threat to democracy, okay? If you don't order the soy latte, it's a threat to democracy. If you eat meat, it's a threat to democracy. But what is actually a legitimate threat to democracy? I mean, really, take a step back and ask that. Alex Jones is a journalist fully protected by the First Amendment. And you have a CIA agent on camera bragging about how he, in the capacity of an FBI role that he had previously, was able to nudge and wink in order to destroy and I quote, chop his legs off so that he'd go bankrupt, saying that they got what they wanted. Tucker Carlson's on a list. If you don't have a First Amendment, then you have no other preceding amendments. So is this a democracy? Like, what is the threat to democracy? Moments ago, Owen, on my show, we had Representative Anna Paulina Luna talking about FISA. And she just told me, we actually have sent the clips to your producer, maybe we can get them up. She just told me that the intelligence community spies regularly on members of Congress. And that she knows for a fact that FISA is used and the loopholes are used in FISA to go after sitting members of Congress, specifically Republicans. If they use the term shall not be infringed, which is something that she said on our program, then they will use FISA to actually spy on the first branch of government.
So citing our law, citing the Constitution, citing the Bill of Rights is now worthy of being spied on.
Yes. Yes. My producers are in touch with your producers. Maybe we'll be able to get the clip. We're just getting the clips up because our show just wrapped a few moments ago. And so the sitting member of Congress who's privy to these briefings is saying, and she made such a great point. She says that the intel community comes in, sets up a skiff, sets up a secure little house of horrors, right? And there's multiple members of Congress coming in talking to me about FISA. And they want so badly to charge and to spend money on the United States. They wish to destroy our Fourth Amendment, our Fifth Amendment, our Second Amendment, and they want to be able to spy on all of us, right? And this is kind of a unifying issue. There are people on the left and people on the right that all see very clearly on this issue and how wrong it is and how illegal it is. And it seems like something that could totally unify us. Now, in order to move members of Congress, they set up these skiffs and they say there's going to be a terrorist attack or there's going to be something horrible that happens if you don't allow us to warrantless spy on every American we want to spy on, including Donald Trump and Republicans and members of Congress. We'll get a load of this. I asked the question, have they ever set up a skiff in order to brief you on the dangers of terrorists coming across the border? Like, here's a question. Has anybody from DHS, CIA, FBI ever set up a skiff on Congress, in Congress, to say, here are the number of terrorists that we've just let into the country? And the answer to that is no. They haven't done that. Because this isn't
aliens in the it's good for your heart. We've been working very closely with the Democratic Party for a long time. But even before that, it's been partially declassified that in the early 1980s, in 1979, 1980, 81, Iran doesn't work for the CIA, but the CIA clearly helped the Ayatollahs take control and take power over the Shah. And so there's been a lot of cases where there's backroom deals made where Iran will attack at a key point for the deep state for political gain, and the deep state will not launch massive retaliatory strikes against Iran, and that gives Iran a lot of political domestic. And so with all the things happening to Biden and the globalist operations falling apart, they need a big political distraction. They need an October surprise. And here we are. The CIA, the Defense Department are saying they believe the next 48 hours Iran is going to attack Israel directly with its massive arsenal of missiles and other weapons. Iran is armed to the teeth, and they have a very, very serious military that they've developed. They've also got proxy forces of Hezbollah that are in the West Bank, mainly in Lebanon, just north of Israel. They've also been helping coordinate with Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, Gaza, and so this whole stand down on October 7th by Israel, this whole 6-month war indiscriminately in Gaza, the $6 billion that Biden gave them, the Iranians a month before, the stand down Israel of the Hamas attack. I've said all of this is lining up for a larger war, but that behind the scenes you've got globalists actually working with Iran to limit how large it will be. And Iran can use that with its domestic population for control. The mullahs are extremely unpopular. Simon polls that have been done under the table in Iran, upwards of 80% of the population hates the Islamic system's control. So that'll help the mullahs stay in power, and it'll also help the globalists crack down Europe and the United States, as well as Canada and the UK. Bloomberg reporting Iran attack expected on Israel in the next 2 days. Wall Street Journal, similar headline. Israel bracing for potential direct attack on Iran in the next 2 days. There's the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg. There's another one, CNBC. The West urges China to intervene with Iran amid fears of direct attack on Israel. This is all breaking as we speak. U.S. restricts employees' travel to Iran as Iran vows revenge on Israel. That is a huge situation that we're obviously watching very, very closely here today. We're getting more into throughout the broadcast. Let me tell you what's coming up on the show today before I hit the rest of the news and start drilling into it. Roger Stone on the massive poll numbers showing Trump 15 to 20 points ahead, expanding his lead against the pedo Biden regime. We also have Viva Fry, great lawyer and analyst, coming on to talk about all the persecution in Canada and the U.S. as well as Europe against the globalist political opposition. Robert Barnes, another great constitutional lawyer, will also join us to cover the waterfront. Arden Young, an amazing reporter with sound investigations, who's helped expose targeting children, criminal investigations in multiple states, including Texas, as the founder of Sound Investigations. Will be joining us as well. And I'll just talk about their massive report that's now triggering Congress. Warren was wiretapping the deep state targeting the political opposition, including Congress and other agencies. And we'll get into calls from 5 congressmen and on the persecution of yours truly. This window into the in the 70s. That was the last time the deep state got reined in massively. So that is all coming up on that front today. Then we have incredible videos in Illinois, in Washington State, in California, in Colorado, in New York, with the mayors all reading off the same scripts, saying we've got to build giant illegal alien migrant centers here. We've got to take care of these people, and videos of Penn Station flooded with thousands of illegals and just the bedlam it's causing. And then we've got Biden running around saying, oh, he doesn't know he has the authority to even control the border, but he's looking into it. He has dissolved the border. He's told everybody, when I win the election, as he said 3.5 years ago, I want you to immediately surge the border. And then now he says, oh, he doesn't know if he can do anything when he's deliberately advertised coming into the U.S., saying he'll get all these free goodies, and then ordering the Border Patrol to facilitate the massive human trafficking, including of children, 90,000+ now. According to congressional reports and ICE reports, small children missing, many of them in sex slavery. So just mass crimes being committed from the world. Also, big numbers now, how inflation is hurting Biden's progress on the economy. LA Times, you've got all these former top economists who are Democrats coming out saying, oh, inflation's terrible, Biden's terrible, but that's being done to maneuver him to step down sometime before or during the DNC this coming July. Top economists, including Barack Obama's Treasury Secretary, discovered the real inflation number under Biden reached 18% and is still hovering around 40-year highs. Actually much higher than that. Going to be another big study out. Islands of climate change alarmists have said in the last 40 years, which should disappear due to rising sea levels, have been found to have grown in size. Looking at all of that information and so much more today. Then, of course, we've got a lot of bizarre statements out of the White House, mainstream media concerning the death by cancer of O.J. Simpson. We know from major studies that the so-called COVID vaccine, this mRNA gene therapy, has been causing massive increases in cancer, the accelerated growth of turbo cancers. So I simply said, hey, he took the shot and he was dead. He bragged about taking the boosters. Told everybody you should take your shots. We know the numbers are there that it is triggering massive increases of cancer. And the corporate media weighed in and said, Jones is making it up. O.J. was killed by the shot. And I just pointed out that being killed by the shot, that is a major indicator of it. And the record numbers
I fucking hate my internet.
Blood clots and myocarditis, they cannot deny it. And what they also can't deny, we're be covering all this, powerful video that we're going to be playing coming up, the great COVID cover-up, shocking truth about Wuhan and 16 federal agencies. And that was Senator Rand Paul on with the Fox News host Laura Ingraham. It's an excellent 5-page article from Fox News. What are they talking about? The New York Post is finally covering it. 3 years ago, a lot of these emails were already public, but now even more emails are public. Whistleblower shares more COVID origin emails Fauci advisor allegedly concealed on private account House panel. Now, we had emails less than a year into this. This has been going on 4 years plus. Wow, it's hard to believe. We had emails in late 2020. So over 3 years ago, we've covered it ad nauseum, from the EcoHealth Alliance. And a lot of that is because what Dr. Huff, who is the vice president of it, was giving it to Tom Renz and others, who later testified to Congress and others, that they were developing COVID-19 for the CIA and they were developing the vaccine before they ever released it. And Fauci was calling it data function. Well, now, all these other incredible emails have come out. And so we're going to be covering that coming up the last segment of this hour. I think we're about to call through to get that Senator Rand Paul clip. So be sure and get that because this is a big deal. It was premeditated. It was launched against the people. Life expectancy is dropping. Cancer is exploding. We have a 40+% increase in the overall morbidity rate. World population is now dropping for the first time since the Black Plague. They have failed laws of exposed. People aren't running justice. They've now paid attention to launching an even more deadly virus, more deadly injection in the future. This is attached to see you're a corporate bureaucrat. It doesn't matter if you're a government bureaucrat. It doesn't matter if you're in the FBI, the CIA. It doesn't matter if you're a school teacher. It doesn't matter if you're an auto mechanic. It doesn't matter if you're a rancher, a farmer, a busboy, or a psychologist, or a police officer, or a firefighter, or a factory worker, or a highway worker, or a truck driver. It doesn't matter. If you're a dog groomer. It doesn't matter if you're in the military. It doesn't matter if you're a king or a queen. These shots order the body to mass produce the HIV spike protein. Now they're announcing that HIV is exploding. Everybody knows that was coming. They had false positive tests all over the world after the COVID injections, particularly the virus vector injections. People are having false positives for HIV because the spike protein is from HIV. And people hear that, and they say, it's the Jones that the virus is man-made or it has a spike protein. We knew a month after it was released. We knew in January of 2020 because the Indian major university, there's only like 20-something of the machines. I think they built more. I think it's like 30 now. But they cost millions of dollars. The CRISPR gene editing system. And they scanned the damn virus and said it was from 5 viruses man-made. And then they confirmed all these other governments. In peer-reviewed studies, it's man-made. There's a fact it's got a big rhino horn on it. The biggest spike protein ever seen is HIV. That literally goes and plugs into the cell with a big spike. That's why if you watch the movie The Thing, I didn't tell the crew to do this, but try to pull up virus replication, computer scene, The Thing, made in the 80s. And it shows the alien cell with a spike on it. And it goes and plugs into the human cell and takes it over. That's because they knew back then that that's how these viruses operate. They've got a spike on them. And that's how they stab the cell. That's how they get in. So in a science fiction movie, you look at it, but that's, if you go to the actual scan of the virus, that's what it looks like. Because that's what the HIV virus looked like. And I remember seeing John Carpenter, an interview he gave, said they hired virologists and everybody to make sure it looked accurate. So you look at that in that movie where it's coming in and what's this man.video letter and on X, and like you're literally looking in that movie of what they're describing as an alien attacking of an HIV. So much so they used it as an example of an alien virus.
What is SL?
What else am I going to be covering today? I already kind of
You said
mentioned
it sounds
earlier,
like a good
but
time to take SL
I
drop.
don't even know
What?
what to say at this point. It makes me ashamed for my country. I already knew all of this. I've already told you probably 1,000 times till your ears blade that the CIA and FBI ran the operation against yours truly. Now, it would take hours to explain all the evidence and how we know. And then now we've got this former FBI agent, CIA contract manager, bragging about how I was targeted and how it was designed to cut my legs off, and how they're also going after Tucker Carlson. I mean, folks, do you understand how incredibly illegal that is and how dangerous that is? And obviously, if they could get away with it,
And the blue area is
with
your
me,
team?
they're going to get away with it.
Damn, you guys are getting
with
fucking
you.
destroyed.
And this is being done not to just get Trump or get Alex Jones or Tucker Carlson. It is being designed to get you. The entire AI grid, with big tech taking orders from the CIA and the FBI, that's all come out in Congress 6-7 years after I told you about it last year. And it's your rights being violated. This type of crap goes on. And I thank my lucky stars, and I thank God every day, because I don't want to be in prison, that they have had the Justice Department after us, the CIA, the FBI, the IRS, and because the straight arrow, CIA agent admits this in the video. We couldn't find him after I've been illegally put through all this. That they said, well, I guess we can't get a jury to convict him, even if it's a rigged DC jury, so they dropped it. That ought to really concern everybody, because I don't do my own checking account. I've got an accountant and I've got a CPA. And I'm not stupid. I know I'm a target. But even if I wasn't a target, even though the taxes, a lot of them are unconstitutional and they're out of control, I've done nothing illegal other than occasionally speed in my automobile, and because of issues of safety, I don't even do that anymore. So that's basically where we're at, and it's disgusting to know that they lied about me and did all these terrible things in the news and the PR firms and the law firms and all of it, and literally ran over me and backed back over me and ran back over me a couple hundred times, and then got so frustrated that they couldn't make anything up that would stick, but then they don't care, despite the fact that they said I had hundreds of millions of dollars and all this hidden money, and I was going to be going to prison, and none of that was true, and I couldn't put on defenses in the rigged trials where I was already found guilty. They still come out with an HBO show that's their most promoted show right now everywhere, called The Truth versus Alex Jones, that's completely deceptive, and still claiming that I've got massive amounts of money and that my wealth is approaching 10 figures. 10 figures is a quadrillion dollars. Now, I don't judge myself according to how much money I've got. But I sure don't like being upside down, and I've been upside down for over a year. But it means nothing to me because the truth is everything.
Weenie Hut and Wet
They
Wet
don't even
Gorilla.
line their lies up to match their other lies. And so a lot of people want me to sue the FBI and the CIA. And I'm not a litigious person. But we have to bring this out further in the light. We have to document it. And I do want congressional hearings, and they're talking about doing hearings. It's been brought up in the FISA hearings. 5 congressmen and women are now talking about it that I know of. We've got some of those clips coming up. So this is a big deal, because if I don't do that, then I'm basically not trying to. That said, the system obviously tries to protect itself. It's very, very corrupt. There are some big law firms that are successfully going after the deep state, and that's what I'm in the process of talking to or have talked to. And then they say we've got very, very serious cases against these folks. But that is definitely something that we're looking into and doing. But regardless, in the court of public opinion, that's where the enemy's losing. When I say enemy, the globalists have had the government, and they see hardworking, upright, strong, good people as them. And they literally are at war against you because they've taken over. They're robbing the country 7 ways a Sunday. They feel completely entitled to do it, but they know in the back of their minds, in the front of their minds, the public's waking up to them very quickly. It's huge. And so they're not going to stop coming after you. And even if we rolled over and submitted to them, history shows tyrants never quit because they have a hunger to dominate and hurt ordinary people. So when you pray for this broadcast, when you support this broadcast, when you spread the word about this broadcast, you are fighting globalism. You are doing the right thing, and you are standing up for yourself and everybody else. So I want to salute everyone that has supported us over the years. You've been completely vindicated in spades. But I most importantly want to thank God for answered prayers. That so much I've had thousands of people on the streets the last few years tell me, don't worry, God's in control, God's going to come through, we're praying for you. And just since this information broke 4 days ago, took the internet and the news by storm, about the CIA and FBI quarterbacking illegal attacks against myself, the crew, this operation, my family, even more I've now learned is set to come out in Congress, separate investigations, and whistleblowers inside the FBI and CIA. And that you're not just going to see undercover videos of these people, but that you're going to see very, very soon people going public for part of persecution, not just against myself, but others. with a bunch of corporate interests controlling it that just hit us with a bioweapon deadly shot that's killed over 20 million people. And it begins with insiders blowing the whistle and investigators exposing it and Congress and legislatures and attorney generals taking action. I have played phone tag with Paxton, and there's a lot of other things I need to get to. But I can tell you this.
Damn,
People
dog.
have seen
You
the
were
attacks on Trump.
punished.
They've seen the weaponization. They've seen the juryless trials. They've seen them taking him off the ballot and all this other illegal crap. That's open election theft in front of you, attempted election theft. And the sleeping giant's awake. I'm a public figure, as I've said many times, so I'm known. You're not, many of you, so you have that anonymity. That's great. But because I'm a public figure, I get to see how many people are awake. I was on an airplane yesterday, shook half the hands of the people that getting off the plane, had the pilot come off the plane with a picture, shake my hand, had the TSA want the picture, shake my hand. Mom, it's been sold out for 6 months. It's our #2 bestseller. It's X3, the highest quality, pure, deep earth crystal iodine you're going to find anywhere, with the 2 other types of iodine that are great for your body as well. So to make sure, no matter what kind of body type you have, whatever your physiology is, it will supercharge you. Look at this giant stack right here. I can talk for hours about this on air, and I am planning to next week. But the #1 cause of cognitive disability in the world is iodine deficiency. And all iodine is not created equal. Most iodine is bound to other things in the environment, whether it's plants or animals you're eating, so you don't absorb it. This is pure, goes right into your cells. It is essential for all electrochemical activity. And despite the fact it's been sold out for 6 months, X3 is back in stock for 40% off for a limited time at InfoWarsStore.com. So stock up on X3 right now at InfoWarsStore.com. You know, I haven't done this yet just because it just feels weird to go in a grocery store or get on an airplane and have a hidden camera and blur people's faces out and literally show up to 90% of people come up to me and shake my hand. Usually it's about 50%. I'm going to finish up with this story, and then I'm going to this here. But because this is a mess, again, I'm explaining to you. Most of these guys got some articles acting like I'm bragging on them. They're always trying to say I'm unpopular, and everybody hates me. These programs, thousands of articles. And when Trump first got elected, if I was walking down the street, cars would pull over and shake my hand. Grocery store people shake my hand. You'll go to church. Every 10th person I walk by would try to shake my hand or shake my hand. But I wasn't super ultra famous. But still, a lot of people like me. And then every week or two, somebody would say F you, Russian agent, or something like that. Then when Trump got elected, it went from 99% positive to about 80% positive. I would get FUs every day. I would get coffee and tea thrown in restaurants. People come over to me and my family at dinner saying, F you and your family. We're going to beat your ass. They'd be waiting outside when I came out. And then I'd yell at them and oh, you're attacking us. So much so I had to get security. It got so bad, I had to stream this for a while. But since they stole the election from Trump and all this persecution, it is now 1 confrontation per 1,000. I went on an almost 2-week vacation because I wanted to rest, had to do it. Feels so great. Thank God for that opportunity. Thank you all for your support. I needed it. Did some work while I was on vacation, but I usually work every day on so-called vacation. This time I actually took pretty much a whole week off and then worked the 4 or 5 days we had left. But because this big story broke. But when I was in Hawaii, I would go to Safeway and get food. It's contrary to what the media said. I was staying most of the time at a condo we rented. It was cheaper. And I went and stayed a few days at some hotels because my daughter wanted to have a pool. And basically all of the cleaning staff, when I would walk down the hall at the hotels, were listeners. The people we rented the condo from were listeners. The bartenders, the concierge, the bellhops, I mean, I'm talking like all listeners. I mean, like, it'd be weird if they weren't. It was like Fight Club. I appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up. We're going to bring down the global. Then I would go to Safeway. The grocery store there. Literally, 3 times I went, I would shake half the time. 2 times, one time, everyone. It was everyone. The checker, the bagger, everyone in line. People all over the store. At one point, I had like 30 people lined up. And I started signing autographs. They knew about the show. They had to say, on the oh, we saw you on Steve Bannon yesterday. So I get on the airplane to fly from Hawaii back to Austin, Texas. And I get on, I'm shaking the hands of the stewardesses, male, female, they're listeners. I sit down, this old man and his wife are listeners. The older gentleman behind me with his wife are listeners. And when I get off the airplane, I had multiple people come over and say, it was so good to see what you talk about on air just happened. It was incredible. He said, I just saw you on Steve Bannon 2 days ago talking about this phenomenon, and I just watched it. Now, folks, what does that say about the New World Order? And I keep harping on this because it's a blind spot for you because you're not famous, which is a great thing. Again, anonymity's wonderful. It's a curse in many ways to be famous, but you also get to learn things other people don't. I'm a symbol of the resistance. I'm a symbol of fighting the deep state, the New World Order. And it was the customs guys that scan your stuff to make sure you don't have any produce because it could have fruit flies or whatever. My wife got caught with an apple in her backpack she forgot. All 4 of the guys go, Alex, come on over here. Your wife's got an apple. Is this okay? Yeah, no, you can't carry it. Hey, we love you. MAGA all the way. That's flying out of Kauai. Go through the TSA. Hey, man, we're a listener. We know it's BS. The border is wide open. On and on and on. Go through, go buy some breakfast tacos. Everybody in the restaurant's a listener. I mean, everybody. Had a bartender in there at 10 a.m. in the morning trying to give us drinks. I'm like, no. Got a bar in there too. It's huge. And I had one woman come up to me. I'm sitting there on the beach 3 days ago. She goes, "Are you Alex Jones?" And she's looking at me, middle-aged white woman. And I said, "Yes." My daughter was out boogie boarding like 50 yards from me with my wife. They were out on those. She said, "I effing hate you and hate your family, and I hope you die." And I said, "Let me get my phone and get some video of this." And she goes, "F you. I can't believe what you did to those children." And I said, "What did I do?" And she goes, "You pissed on their graves." And I looked at her and felt sorry for her. And she stomped off. And I thought about, imagine being that mind controlled. She thinks I'm the worst guy in the world. She believes HBO. She believes this lie. I didn't lie about WMDs in Iraq that killed millions with the sanctions. I didn't ship fentanyl in. I didn't run Jeffrey Epstein's island. I'm a sinner. I'm not perfect. I do things that are wrong. I get mad at people, things like that. But I have a conscience. I feel bad about it. These people literally think they're the good guys, the followers of the system do, and they think I'm the bad guy. I didn't roll out a deadly virus. I didn't roll out an experimental shot. I didn't kill millions of people. But see, they're camp followers of the system. They still believe the corporate media, but they are a tiny minority. And they know they're a minority. And they know they're stealing elections. And they know the world's turning against them. And their whole world's crashing down. So they see me, and they see me as a symbol of all that's bad, all the anxiety they have, all the fear they have as they run out of money and as inflation destroys them. They then think it's the right-wingers, it's the populists, it's the Christians, it's the hard-working people that we're the problem. They literally hate us. And I don't hate them. Because imagine being so pathetic that you believe I peed on children's graves when there's no video or evidence of anyone ever graves. But they just put up the wildest crap they can. You can't talk sense to those people. Because they believe the lie. And they're victims of the mind control. And they're bought into the system and they're going down with the ship. So, that man in his life, though, he shook my hand and he said, as we got off the plane, he said, that was incredible to watch. He goes, I didn't doubt you when you were on Bannon, telling the story a couple days ago. And he said, to see it for myself, he goes, it's incredible. He was just shaking his head and had tears in his eyes. And I go, I know. You just saw the majority of people are listeners. What does that tell you? We're winning, folks. I'm done talking about it. I want to come back. I said I'd get into the deadly virus news, and I will. But I've got some clips here of Congress calling for criminal investigations and for me to sue the FBI and CIA when we return straight ahead. Stay with us. But we are winning. Thank God for that. Keep it up, folks. You don't know how strong you are. All right, I'm not going to get deeply into the whole CIA FBI operation against myself until the third hour. Got some guests coming on about it, but they're going to be covering bigger topics, bigger subjects, Trump and the weaponization and how to stop it. But I wanted to just play a few clips here because I've mentioned it, so I want to actually show it. I want to thank all these different congressmen and women like MTG and Congressman Lee and Congressman Nels and a bunch of others. I think it's more than 5 now. There's articles up on Infowars.com that have come out and said we need hearings. It was brought up during the FISA hearings, saying I need to file lawsuits. I am talking to some of the big law firms that have been suing successfully for people that have been persecuted by the deep state. I'm not going to name names yet. Taking these people on will up the chances they try to set me up and put me in prison. But I can't live on my knees, folks. So, but I want listeners to recognize that I'm doing this because I'm betting on you. I believe we can beat these people. And the last thing I want to say before I play these clips is this. I now know twice as much as I knew a week ago about what's happened from not just these new developments with this undercover video, but from other sources that have confirmed what I already suspected but couldn't confirm. And now we've confirmed it. The attacks were way worse than we thought and way more serious. And it's like a spiral. And I think I've been really struggling with this last night and this morning. I always do what I think is moral. I don't make
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Flank. I'm joined by the human turret, the world champ himself, one of the best ARs to ever do it. Give it up for Sam LaRue, a.k.a. Octane. We got some of the best analysis in a game. Give it up for the world champ, the multi-champ. Give it up for Christopher Duarte, a.k.a. Parasite. We got the one and only, the executive producer of The Flank, Benjay Nassim. We got the
mistakes on purpose. A lot of times I look back at what I've done and say I could have done that a lot better. I think we're all like that. At least most of us are, unless you're a globalist. They literally have no conscience. They actually have an opposite of conscience. They love to do bad things. But I think I have a responsibility to expose what's going on. And I know who the players are and who's been involved in what and the level of the infiltration and the things that have gone on. But this has been unbelievable. And it's only by the grace of God that they've not indicted me for made up crap. I mean, look, I declared bankruptcy because I was out of money a year and a half ago personally at the company 2 years ago. And they've kept us in it trying to find something to put us in jail, and they haven't been able to. The IRS audit lasted over a year, got a big tax refund. They said, wow, we don't normally do this, but you're and so it even shows the bureaucrats themselves aren't all bad. They may be in a bad situation, they may be in a bad agency, an unconstitutional operation, but they themselves are still trying to execute the law and not be criminals, but their bosses are criminals and are flogging them like you flog a horse to do these bad things. And that's what this attack on me's been about, is training agencies and groups to do this. But at this time, I'm not going to reveal all of it yet because I want to get my ducks in a row. But I will be exposing this very, very soon. But let me just give you an idea. My bankruptcy lawyers that are some of the top people in the state on record, very well respected, super ethical, they got a call when I declared corporate bankruptcy 2 years ago from the other side's lawyers and the Justice Department. The Justice Department has an office over bankruptcy, the U.S. Trustee's office, and they said, because the lawyer wrote it down, they said, Alex Jones is not going to be afforded access to the bankruptcy system. Nothing he can do or you will do will overcome us. And then when I had bankruptcy hearings and depositions, and they say this happens 1 out of 1,000 times, they would send federal agents from D.C. to the depositions that were held here in these offices with feds